for fast, cheap, and reliable Madden 21 Ultimate Team coins. Make sure you guys go check out my sponsor, Easy Mutt. Use code VENOM at checkout for 5% off. Yo, what's good, guys? VenomFire here, back with another video, and today I'm bringing you guys one of my favorite, one of the best run schemes in Madden 21. It's going to be out of this I-form slot. Now, today we're going to be in the San Francisco 49ers offensive playbook. This is also in Raiders playbook. I would say that's the most popular way to run this, actually, but 49ers is going to have a little bit more passing options. It has way better passing plays, so that's what I'm going to run it out of. The alternative to go to the Raiders playbook would be to audible to this from Guntrip's tight end. The runs will be the exact same, but again, this San Francisco 49ers offense does have some better pass plays, so that's the reason I'm going to be using it. But again, the runs work the exact same out of Raiders. This is actually called I-form H slot, but again, the formation set up the exact same way, and I believe there are some similar pass plays, but just not the good ones. Also, make sure you guys do hit that subscribe button. 77% of you guys watching are not subscribed, so hit that sub button down below if you're enjoying the content. Also, drop me a follow on Twitter. Link will be down below in the description. But yeah, with that being said, let's go ahead, hop into it. Now, mainly we're going to focus in on the halfback dive and stretch. There is also a halfback toss, which actually isn't too terrible this year, believe it or not. There is not a power O. I know there's like certain I-form slots that are even better than this one with a like power O alert bubble. But overall, we don't have it in this one, and wouldn't recommend going to like a Denver Broncos or some random playbook that has it. That doesn't really have any other firepower like a whatever playbook. But yeah, so you can definitely audible to strong close, which is one of the benefits of the plays. As far as the other plays, I like post wheel and this Y cop play. Those are the ones I'm going to talk about. But there is some other solid plays like this PA post shot and fade smash. But yeah, with that being said, let's go ahead, hop straight into it, and go on the field. Alright, now the reason that this run formation, this run scheme is so good is because it works against some of the most popular run defenses in the game. Now, I'm not using two controllers right now, so I can't really set them up. But in particular, it's really good against the user rush type defense, the gap shoot through the middle big nickel over G defense, where they stand in the gap and they run through. Really good against stretch. That's what it's most popular against, but it actually doesn't work really at all against this I-form slot. You almost have to time it completely perfect, and even then, sometimes it still won't work. So that's why this run formation, very solid. You obviously have the bubble threat, which you can definitely throw. Now, I'm just running a little man coverage because that's what you're going to see probably the most online, specifically out of I-form. When you audible down, there's not really a reason to ever play zone. They're going to play man coverage based run D and try to send as many guys as they can. Now, there's a couple of ways to attack this. Obviously, the bubble is going to be relatively useless, pending they like blitz this guy off the edge or do bluff you with zone coverage. So you're not really ever going to throw that unless it is like a zone coverage look. But it's there, and you never know if it's going to be open. So you always want to look at it briefly. Now, with halfback dive, there's a couple of weaknesses. Obviously, a lot of people run inside stuff. I don't think as many people do it as they used to, but you still will see people occasionally run this inside stuff online. So let's pretend that I think Shelby Harris is number 93. He might be 96, but whoever number 93 is, you're just going to go ahead and double team him. So again, I'm just going to double team the D tackle that I want, and then I snap the ball. Then you see he gets double teamed, completely powered up the middle, and it opens up a big hole. So again, if you want that inside stuff to be ineffective, you just go ahead and double team it. And boom, you see they double team, and you will be off to the races. You see really good blocking down the field, even with a halfback dive. Now, occasionally, you can get shedded, and if that is happening to you, there's a couple of things that you can do. Now, you see how there's two cornerbacks on this left side, two defensive backs right here. Now, there's a pretty simple way to get rid of one of them, and it's going to be just to motion one of these guys completely over. Now, in my opinion, the best way to run this halfback dive is to actually cut it back to the left against the grain, kind of how we have been doing it. So if I'm going to go with that plan, I'm just going to motion Adam Thielen over, and although he doesn't run completely to the outside, you see he kind of stops in the slot. That's going to just shift one of those guys over, and that was some pretty terrible run blocking and run stick. But overall, you see how the defense shifted, and we got one last guy over there. Again, you can just motion him over like so. You see how that slot cornerback's going to travel. I can kind of snap it like a motion snap right there. Again, geez, I don't know what's happened with my run stick, but yeah, just ran into the guy. You see how the hole was there, despite my terrible run stick. Now another thing you can also do with this offense is you can put another running back at fullback. If you were doing that, you're probably going to go ahead and be running the strong close. So your fullback would be in your fullback slot. You would want like an Alvin Kamara, someone with good receiving stats, Barry Sanders, whoever. But that would be the reason to put another running back there. They're not good in the run game, but if you were to audible down, pass, audible around, that's something you can do. You can also come out in strong close and easily audible to this I-form slot. So I'm in strong close. I just simply audible. You see that receiver is just going to run back, and it's pretty fast. You see, you can even snap it earlier, although he's actually not going to run his bubble, but I can get like a pretty quick snap on the ball. So that's definitely going to be an option. But yeah, overall, very, very solid formation. Moving on, let's talk about the halfback stretch a little bit. Stretch, very solid. Again, you're not really going to do motion with this, but you can get some pretty good holes. And again, this is specifically better against 3-3-5 wide, big nickel over G. Again, I'll just run it, boom. Of course, CJ Ham is just getting his life shedded by a cornerback. You gotta love that. I can also go ahead and motion him out like this. Of course, he did nothing. Jeez, AJ Boye is just the best defensive back ever, isn't he? I mean, my God, dude is just literally the greatest. But here's the type of blocks you want, where you can kind of cut it upfield. And really, you're getting a one-on-one with your running back on a cornerback most of the time. And he should win that matchup a lot of the time. I guess AJ Boye probably has really high block shed, so he's not winning it right now. But you see right there, we're able to do it. Overall, this guy's usually going to be pressed. Since he's not pressed right now, I think that could be a reason why it's not working as good. But again, just kind of motion him over. That's the type of blocks we want, where he gets completely on the edge. Geez, some amazing run stick yet again there from me. But yeah, overall, very, very solid run. Again, you can kind of like ID this middle guy. He's going to get picked up by your right tackle. Your tight end's going to get out in space, and your fullback picks up that block for you. Now, this is just me running from the middle hash. I do believe it gets even better if I were to respot the ball, go on the like right hash right about here. I think it gets even better. And if you were to run it on a hash mark, usually you want to run it on the wide side. Now, honestly, for whatever reason, like I'm not the biggest fan of actually running it to the left. I haven't really seen too many people that actually audible down really like to run this to the left side. I'm not sure what the reasoning is. I don't think it necessarily changes the play, but for whatever reason, it just doesn't feel as smooth. That's probably why you've only seen this formation too much from this actual point of view. Receivers to that left-hand side. Again, there's not really any benefit to it. It's just overall a little bit cleaner, and it's probably going to be a little bit easier to throw that bubble if you have to. But again, here's the type of animation that you want, that perfect block development. Since we're in like a nickel 2-4-5 right now, the blocks are going to set up pretty similar to a big nickel over G. And again, one of these linebackers will be down shooting through the gap. He's going to get picked up. If not, you can ID him and overall have success. But yeah, stretch very solid. And just because you run I-form slot, this is like your main formation. Don't be afraid to audible, especially if you're a strong close player. It can be beneficial to audible down. If you're a gun trips tight end player, you put one of those running backs, good receiving running backs at wide receiver, like an Alvin Kamara, Barry Sanders, whoever you want, Bo Jackson even. And then you can audible down to an I-form slot from trips tight end, and you can really have success. I can audible to I-form close, but overall, you have a lot of options. You never want to stick with the same thing, although this I-form slot should be like your bread and butter if you're planning on running it. But again, just because you're learning it doesn't mean you have to run it every play. I can still run a pass-heavy trips tight end offense and audible down, kind of similar to how Joke played in the Madden Club Championship. If you watch that at all, he's running trips, but he's audibling down every time just to see if it works. So again, geez, of course he has to shed there, but I think I missed my hole anyways. Usually you will have an opportunity in the stretch. I believe is a little bit better than the dive. Really does depend, but usually dive can actually be, a lot of people have dive defense. Now with the fullback and with this quick handoff, it's not as good, and you see we're able to get to the outside there pretty easily, but can be blown up. Now let's talk about the passes for a little bit. We have a couple of decent stock routes, and this Adam Thielen route, we got this S post. You can smart route it, and you can actually motion him over to the other side, and sometimes you can beat man coverage. Now, since we don't have too much space, I'm not really going to beat it. I don't have as much space to throw it, so even though we were able to complete it, because I was on that wide side of the field motioning over to the short side, I didn't have as much space. But yeah, You run, just stretch, dive a couple of times, get him to commit to the run game, and then you just basically can audible pretty quickly. You see the motion's going to be pretty quick. It's going to be difficult for him to completely switch his play. And then you can kind of motion over, boom, we get the man beater. We did get instant shedded, but you saw the separation was there. Even with the deep half, I can pass lead that baby outside. So yeah, very, very solid play with this S post. I can obviously do some other things now. I don't really have any of these passing abilities, but if you had like hot route master, you could do a whole lot with this offense. I could like table route RB, put A on a post, slant B. You can really do a lot. So something like this, maybe where you would like options, slant, whatever. But just giving you guys a couple of ideas on what you could do. This would be pretty decent against like man coverage. And again, the majority of people will play man against like an I-form look, I'm assuming. If you're audibling from Sean Close to I-form slot, you could definitely catch them in zone though. So it is a possibility. As far as this other play I threw out, Y cop, I like it because it's similar to Z spot where you get this like baby kind of corner out. I can like put X on an out route. And usually he'll get pretty good separation just like he did right there. If you have a good enough receiver, route technician, a couple of those nice abilities. You see he's able to get that outside leverage, outside separation. Adam Thielen doesn't do too much for us, so we can again kind of motion him over if we choose to. I could easily do something kind of like this, whatever. There's really a lot that I could do, even streak Y, something like this. And obviously I don't have any abilities, so I can't really do a whole lot in the passing game, but really you can just take these couple of routes. That's mainly what I was trying to show off, not really any specific concrete setups, but this corner out with B, you can do a lot with. Boom, I can slant him over, something like this, you can have success with. You motion him over, he turns into a post route, I can get vertical down the field and have success. So just showing those two routes off, man coverage beater, zone coverage beater, and man coverage beater. So I'll give you options. There's other passing plays as well. PA post shot has a short tight end corner out that ends up smart routing to about 5 yards. So you definitely have options in the passing game, and you can catch people off guard. But overall, that's going to do for the video. If you enjoyed, hit that subscribe button, like the video for more content, and follow me on Twitter down below in the description. Peace. I'm out of here.